I'm going to start with you here, Caitlin. You said you might be aggressive on the trade market once this opened up. Is there any player that you're looking to get to? And remember, it has to be apples to apples trade here. Starter for starter, reserve for reserve. The good news is you can't go wrong with this type of talent. Anyone looking to make a deal here?
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it.
Oh.
It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule.
Now.
So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa.
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina. So, therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa.
Let me know. Fee, you want to give me Stewie?
We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This is something that you're agreeing to, Fee. There's no terms to this deal.
I agree with Cheryl. I agree with the trade. I love Cheryl. She's my coach here. And you know what? That's just going to be worse for Team Clark because now we got more chemistry on our side. We got more synergy. We know what we expect from each other. So that was a bad move on your part, Caitlin. We're taking you down.
On live national television with millions watching, Caitlin Clark looked directly into the camera and executed a move so audacious, so completely off script that it sent an immediate shockwave through the entire WNBA. It happened in an instant, but the fallout is still being debated. On the surface, it was presented as a funny, historic moment during the All-Star draft, but a growing number of fans and analysts are convinced it was something else entirely. A cold, calculated, and perfectly timed act of revenge played out on the biggest stage possible. This wasn't just a trade, it was a message. The question that has the whole league buzzing is simple. Was this a harmless joke for the cameras, or was it the moment Caitlin Clark publicly declared war on the very coach who many believe kept her from achieving her Olympic dream? We're going to break down the evidence, connect the dots that others have missed, and expose the rumored feud that led to this explosive moment. To truly understand the explosion, you have to see the fuse that was lit weeks before. The stage was meticulously set for the 2024 WNBA All-Star Draft, broadcast live on ESPN. The format itself was straightforward. The two players with the most fan votes, Indiana's rookie phenom Caitlin Clark and Las Vegas's superstar Aja Wilson, would serve as captains and draft their respective teams from a pool of the league's best. Clark, having shattered voting records, came into the event with an undeniable mandate from the public. She was, without question, the center of the WNBA universe. But there was a small, seemingly routine detail in the event structure that made the entire situation incredibly tense. The coaches for the All-Star teams were pre-assigned based on their regular season success. Sandy Brondello, the championship-winning coach of the New York Liberty, was set to lead Team Wilson, and the coach automatically assigned to the biggest star in the game, Caitlin Clark, was none other than the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx and Team USA basketball, Cheryl Reeve. For those who had been following the storm of controversy from just a few weeks prior, this assignment felt like a PR landmine. This was the same coach who had become the public face of the highly debated decision to leave Clark off the Paris Olympic roster. The tension was palpable before a single player was even picked. All it needed was the slightest spark to ignite.
You may have been involved in the first ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are. Second time in history now. Jeez, as a player.
Yeah, I don't really care about individual play.
And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up after he goes, I've created history. This is awesome, I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
Hello, congrats on the win. The question is for... My question, you guys ready to do battle with Brianna Stewart in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I'm going to trade for her too. Oh, that's okay. It's not my team anymore. I'm just rocking up.
The draft began as expected, with a sense of manufactured calm. Clark made her first pick, logically selecting her Indiana Fever teammate, the dominant center Aaliyah Boston. For her second pick, she chose New York Liberty guard Sabrina Ionescu, a fellow long-range shooter and one of the league's most popular figures. Everything seemed to be proceeding according according to plan. The ESPN hosts, sensing an opportunity for some lighthearted television, gently nudged Clark, asking if she planned on being aggressive on the trade market with players. It was a standard question, designed to create a bit of drama. They had no idea what was coming. Instead of talking about players, Clark leaned into her microphone, her expression shifting from cheerful to intensely focused, and completely flipped the entire script. To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great, she began, perfectly setting up the swerve nobody saw coming. Then she delivered the line that broke the broadcast and sent the internet into a frenzy. I don't know if this is in the rules, she said, pausing for effect. I don't really care, but I think we've already discussed we're going to trade coaches. The live set descended into a state of stunned, awkward silence, followed by nervous laughter. The commentators were visibly caught off guard, trying to process what had just happened. One of them spoke for everyone watching at home, stammering, We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This was completely new territory, but Clark wasn't finished. Realizing the gravity of her statement, she doubled down, looking straight into the camera with an air of defiance. Sorry, Women's National Basketball Association, if that's not in the rules. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. In the immediate aftermath, the league, the players, and the broadcast partners scrambled to frame the unprecedented moment. The official narrative was quickly established. This was a piece of harmless, record-breaking fun. It was a move designed for entertainment, a way to make the All-Star experience more memorable for the fans. The new coach for Team Clark, Sandy Brondello, played her part perfectly. She appeared on camera looking thrilled, embracing the chaos with a smile. She gushed about the texts she was receiving, telling reporters her son had messaged her saying, I've created history. This is awesome. I got traded as a coach. Sabrina Ionescu, who was now unexpectedly reunited with her longtime New York Liberty coach, delivered a perfect soundbite, joking to Brondello, You can't escape me. It was the ideal TV-friendly story, a funny inside joke between a player and her coach that made for great television and a historic first. The narrative was clean, simple, and safe. But while the league was pushing the story of a lighthearted prank, thousands of fans and narrative analysts online were already connecting dots the cameras weren't showing. They believed a much darker, more personal narrative was taking shape right before their eyes. They knew you had to look not at who Clark traded for, but who she so publicly traded away. To understand why this trade felt so deeply personal and calculated to so many, you have to rewind the tape to the single biggest controversy of the season, the 2024 Paris Olympics. Caitlin Clark, a true generational talent who had single-handedly driven viewership and interest in women's basketball to unprecedented heights, was famously and shockingly left off the Team USA roster. The decision ignited a firestorm of debate and frustration. Fans, pundits, and even casual observers couldn't understand how the league's most popular and electrifying player could be sidelined for the world's biggest sporting event. The official explanations cited a need for veteran experience and established team chemistry, but to a huge portion of the public, it felt like a slap in the face. And the head coach of that Olympic team, the one who had to answer for the decision in the media, was Cheryl Reeve. While the final roster is technically chosen by a selection committee in the court of public opinion, the head coach often becomes the face of such a monumental decision. The perception among millions was that Reeve was, at least in part, responsible for the snub. The wound from that decision was still fresh. So when Caitlin Clark, with the world watching her every move, gets on national TV and declares, I don't care if it's in the rules, while unceremoniously shipping that very coach away, it was impossible for many not to see it as a direct and deliberate message. For these fans, this wasn't just a trade anymore. It was the ultimate public cold shoulder, a brilliant use of her immense platform to deliver payback on a national stage. But while Team Clark was busy making what many saw as a deeply personal statement, their opponents were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. The captain of the opposing team, Aja Wilson, and her squad immediately saw an opportunity to turn the situation to their advantage. Nafisa Collier, Cheryl Reeve's own star player on the Minnesota Lynx, didn't hesitate for a second. When asked for her response, she accepted the trade and then masterfully weaponized it. I agree with Cheryl. I agree with the trade, Collier began before twisting the knife. I love Cheryl. She's my coach here. And you know what? That's just gonna be worse for Team Clark because now we got more chemistry on our side. We got more synergy. We know what we expect from each other. It was a brilliant piece of psychological gamesmanship. In one short statement, she completely reframed the entire event. While Clark was busy settling what looked like an old score, Collier was focused on building a better team to win the actual game. She wasn't just accepting the trade, she was spinning it as a strategic victory. She finished her statement with a direct and chilling shot at her rival. And so that was a bad move on your part, Caitlyn. We're taking you down. The battle lines weren't just drawn, they were fortified. And the layers of drama didn't stop there. What seemed like a random, spontaneous trade of coaches had inadvertently reignited one of the most intense tactical rivalries in the entire league. For those who follow the WNBA closely, the two coaches who were just swapped, Sandy Brondello and Cheryl Reeve, were not just any two coaches. They had just finished battling in an epic, hard-fought 5-game WNBA finals. That series was a brutal, tactical chess match that went down to the wire, with Brondello's New York Liberty ultimately defeating Reeve's Minnesota Lynx to win their first ever championship. The memory of that intense, high-stakes coaching battle was still fresh. Now, because of Clark's move, an all-star game that is traditionally a friendly, defense-optional exhibition was suddenly loaded with narrative tension. You had the alleged personal feud between Clark and Reeve, the strategic one-upmanship from Collier, and now a WNBA Finals coaching rematch playing out on the sidelines. This single trade transformed the game from a simple showcase into a multi-layered drama with real, competitive fire that no one saw coming. In the end, this electrifying moment was about far more than just a single-player trade. When Caitlyn Clark looked into that camera and declared, "We just made it a rule," she wasn't just talking about swapping coaches in an exhibition game. She was demonstrating the raw, undeniable, and unprecedented power she now wields in the world of professional basketball. The league didn't stand in her way. The broadcast partners at ESPN didn't cut away. They leaned into the drama, replaying the clip and fueling the speculation because they know that Caitlyn Clark is the show. This single defiant act set a fascinating new precedent for player agency, proving that a superstar of her magnitude can quite literally change the rules of the game in real time. This could be a turning point, a moment we look back on as the shift where player personality and narrative-driven drama became just as important as the final score. So, what was this really about? Was it a petty act of revenge for the Olympic snub? Was it a brilliant, spontaneous piece of showmanship for the sake of entertainment? Or was it a cold, calculated, and brilliant power play to show everyone, the league, the coaches, the other players, who truly runs the WNBA now? Caitlyn Clark didn't just trade a coach. She may have just traded away the league's old way of doing things forever. Let me know in the comments below what you believe her true motive was.